Hi, I am back with Debbie Allen, who is known as the expert of experts, and she is someone who keeps on going no matter what. And we were just in the middle of talking about, what happens when you do get a little bit older and you think you want to slow down, but you really don't want to slow down. So, Debbie, you've had some changes in your personal life as well. So, how has that impacted what you do? And also, your philosophy of keeping on keeping on.
Yeah, now that you've given away my old age.
Well,
Yeah,
you did that. You did
I
that.
know. I gave it away. Yeah, because I really, I looked at that came up because I was thinking, when I'm 55, I'm thinking when I get to be like near 65, then I'm going to be like slowing down. And we covered that saying, but I love the way you said that. It's like, because why would you stop when you're doing what you love? And that's so the point. So yeah, and I've been like where you have, Gail. It's like I've reinvented myself. And when the economy tanked in 2008, I was, at the height of my speaking career, as far as, paid professional speaking, when I was doing that as my full-time career. And there just wasn't the paid speaking. It just tanked. It just wasn't happening in the market. And I went internationally. And I was speaking internationally on a 4-year world tour, gone all the time, another country, 28 countries, over a 3-year period of time. And a very exciting time in my life, amazing experiences. But of course, I didn't have a personal life, and I had been single for 20 years. And you meet somebody and you go, "Hey, nice meeting you, but I'll be gone for a month," right? hard to find a relationship. And then I met someone, and I said, "Oh my gosh, he's this." After 20 years of dating, you meet somebody, and the first day you go, "Wow." I mean, here is a special person to his core that I relate to, and man, this would be a perfect person for me. I don't know if I'm going to get the friend card or what, and I got more than the friend card, and he became my husband 3 years ago. Our 3rd-year anniversary this month. And my life changed, and I got off the world tour. I had to reinvent my business. I had to leave the business partner at the time I was with, reinvent my speaking business. That was a little over 4 years ago, about 4.5 years ago. Completely reinvented what I was doing. And then that was really hard. Even though I've been in the speaking business a long time, I really had to completely reverse engineer what I was doing and revamp it. And it took a good year for that revamping to take place. And then 2 years, the roots took over. And this last year exploded my business. And then we built a new home a year ago. And the new home is our business freedom lifestyle, where I actually have the life that I want, where have clients come into my home. And we have a conference center in my home where I do my specialty training with small groups of 6 people at a time. And then I also do VIP days with my clients in my home. And we built a casita guest house in the back of our house. It's just absolutely gorgeous. And they come and have this amazing VIP experience and train with me. And so, it was just an idea that was in my head, and now we're living that. And so it went from traveling the world to like I spend most of the time in my home in this beautiful place and invite people to come here and be with us and let them have that experience. And so it's gone full circle, and it's totally the business freedom lifestyle.
Well, again, you've said a lot of things in that response. Number one, Deb, you listen to what you said. You said, okay, so I completely revamped my business. I started this in a certain year, and then it took another 2.5 years. So you did the work. It wasn't instantaneous. It wasn't, oh my gosh, look, today I hang out my shingle and tomorrow I'm a success. You had a very, very well run business. And then when 2008 happened with the recession, and I know exactly what you're talking about.
Mm-hmm.
Everything dried up. And it was the
Right.
same thing with me with 9/11. All the speaking engagement stopped I remember the first time I got on a plane after 9/11, there were, I think, 12 people. I was doing 3 programs in 3 weeks in St. Louis. And the first time I got on the plane, there were 12 people. The second week I got on the plane, there were 20 people.
Yeah,
And the third week I got on the plane, there were 30 some people. So, it changed how I did and what I did. And so That's the thing. You all can decide whatever it is you want to do, but it takes time. Even with those of us who have done what we've done forever and reinvented ourselves, it took time to develop this new path. And that's what I think everybody needs to know. It's also important for them to know that Debbie, even though she was a very, and you can't see her, but she's a very attractive woman, she couldn't find the special one, not only because they were difficult to find, but because she was never anywhere long enough. And I kid all the time and I say, I live in 3 places. Who would put up with that? But again, it changed what she did and how she ran her business. Built a home that could take VIP clients, could take people to come for 6-person coaching programs, who could come and stay and be part of the VIP session. And you orchestrated that, Debbie. That's the important thing. You orchestrated all of that. And I'm sure there were a lot of bumps along the way. I mean, nothing is easy for anybody. But the whole point is you've got to have a plan and you've got to set your mind to what it really is. Now, the other thing about you, Debbie, is you've got me beat by 2 books. I've written 6 books. You've written 8. Why is it important to have a book?
Well, the book really positions you as an expert, but you don't want to just write a book, again, like a hobby, because you're like, oh, I got to get my message out there. And it always cracks me up when people say, oh, I'm writing 3 books. I'm like, don't write 3 books. Write 1 book and have a business plan to it, and that's it. And so I don't write a book until it's a business plan and a goal, to get to the next thing. So I am in the process of writing book number 9. The proposal is partially done. It was written. The agent is already waiting for it. I'm going to rewrite it because I changed the title slightly. But it really is about what I also believe in. That is, what is the next thing that I could teach people besides, once they get into the expert world, is how to continue to move the business and upscale it. Would be to take your ideas, a vision for what you want, and turn it into inspired action. And so this is what I've done over and over and over again. Like this house that I'm sitting in, this house that has everything we talked about, it came from an idea. Then the idea was drawn out on a piece of paper. Didn't even know the house existed. A year later, I was living in this house. I had put the piece of paper away. I forgot that I had drawn the paper. Then the paper was pulled out after I was living in the house. I'm like, oh my gosh, it has every single thing I put on this paper. Like, you put it in your subconscious. I put it in my visual, my mind, and put it out there, right? And so you learn how to do this. And we've heard about visioning and putting yourself out there, but it really is a big process as far as manifesting things in your life. And part of the manifestation comes with the action and marketing and all the things that we do to make things happen. But that part of the book is part of that too. The book has got to be the entire vision of where you want to take it. So you don't sit down and write the book just to say, I'm going to have a book. Where is that book going? When I came up with the book, The Highly Paid Expert, it was the book, the workshop, the mentoring. It was a whole plan before I ever started writing it. And so you've got to be thinking, what is that book going to do? Because it would lead people to the next steps. It's like a funnel. I mean, if you think about a marketing funnel, if that's the way you could think about a book, it would be the next piece. Because if somebody read your book and they loved it, they want more. They want to see you speak. They want to go to a workshop. They want to buy an online course. I mean, they want more. So you have to be thinking about that from the beginning, unless it's a novel, and I don't know anything about that. So, that's a whole different game. And I have actually spoken to people that write, those type of books, romance novels. I spoke to the Arizona romance novel groups, and I was quite interesting because there was people there that wrote 40 books, 40 and they're Harlequin romance novel people, and they're like, can you believe that they've written that many books? And they
have a formula, but they have a formula too, Debbie. I mean, there is a formula for writing those romance novels. Remember Barbara Cartland? I mean, she had written hundreds, and she just, and she did them longhand too. So how much money
do you think that somebody that's written, I mean, these are like, there was two people that I met at this, and they had written between them, and that were between 20 and 40 Harlequin romance novels. How much money do you think that they make a year?
Well, that I don't have a clue about.
$40,000. That's it.
Wow. Wow.
So,
But again, again, that brings up the point, Debbie, of what is money worth to some people? In other words, you might be able to write those kind of novels and be living in an area that it doesn't cost much to live, and you're very happy with that $40,000 a year because you're staying home, you're doing what you love to do. It's like when I try to tell people, if you make $100,000 a year and it costs you $120,000 to live, that's not too good. But if you make $50,000 a year and it costs you $35,000 a year to live, that is good. So I think it's different strokes for different folks. But the other thing, too, is you talk about some so-called experts that don't live up to ethical business standards. So with everything that's going on in the news today about all these horrible things that we're finding out about all these producers and so forth, share some of the behind-the-scenes secrets to the expert industry and what's going on that's not as ethical and honest behind the curtains as we may think, because we want the scoop.
Wow, it's really kind of sad how some of this has happened because, I started my event business. I started creating my own stage 15 years ago. When I started creating my own stage 15 years ago, I was one of the first women that came out and did the huge stage production, 600 people in a room, $30,000 stage production, and I would bring in all the heavy hitters, everybody that was on the big stages. And I was more of the MC then because I wasn't the speaker that could get up there and sell from stage. And that was pretty much what they were, 90 minutes speak, sell. Then none of that wasn't really anything consistent, no deep dive training. It was pretty much a pitch fest. But back then people were buying everything, and especially the internet marketing ones like the magic pill, right? So people were running in the back of the room and throwing, credit cards at people, selling $5,000 programs. Then they found out there wasn't a magic pill. And then a lot of these people became rich really quickly that were doing this. And they were, a lot of them very sleazy salesmen. And that's exactly what they were doing. And they were creating programs that were not working for people. And so they were doing a lot of unethical things. Some of them were even doing one very manipulative, would actually be selling a program from stage where it was an affiliate program. And he would say that you can buy this affiliate program, and let's say you want to sell women's sandals, and you can set this up where you have your own little website, and we create it, and this whole thing, and you make a percentage of it. And from your percentages, you can start making money instantly. And it's all generated through this program. And so they have somebody on stage and they create it like instantly. But you don't know that somebody's like behind the scenes actually manipulating this and making the money happen as they're doing this. And it was like a carny or something, I could not believe the manipulation and the awful stuff that was going on. And so, these people started, it started coming out, and then people started getting tired of the pitch fest, of going to these events where they're constantly being sold to. And so those all just kind of fell apart, and the whole industry has changed now where they're deep dive training. My workshops now are like, I'm on stage almost the entire event, and I just bring a few sponsored speakers in that I really trust that pay for that stage time. And they fit the model of my theme that trains something that people can learn. And I know I respect them, and I know that they're going to take care of my clients. I really have to watch that. I mean, there's very few people I can trust to be on my stage anymore. It's really sad how many have burned their bridges. Like, I'm just shocked. I'm just shocked. Everywhere from, I've even have James Arthur Ray on my stage. James Arthur Ray, he's gone to prison.
Exactly. Remember, yeah.
Some of these guys got so far into their heads with making so much money and thinking they were playing God that that their egos got out of control. And I'm not saying men; it was women too. It's just it was very sad because the power of speaking and the power of the way this whole business went. there was so much money to be made at that time that it really got out of hand, and a lot of unethical business was happening. Very, very sad. But a lot of that has come crashing down. And so, it's not out there as much. There are some still happening, unfortunately, and I see that, but they're fewer, much, much fewer than in the past.
Well, you've given us a good scenario of what happened. And I certainly was part of the participants in that, because I'm one of those people that I love to keep learning. So I'm always going to events, and I'm always going to seminars and webinars and so forth, even though I, speak at these events, and even though I do my own webinars and so forth, but I go to them because I like to learn. So it's interesting how all of this plays out. You also, however, discuss something in your book called the highly paid expert pyramid. What is that about?
Well, the pyramid kind of just describes the different levels of where people will be as they come into building their business. And sorry, that was my office phone. And we're not any different than anybody else. We just come in at different levels. We're all just as good as everybody else. Wherever we start, whether we're at a reinvention process or we're starting from ground zero, from an idea. And so in the pyramid level, if you think about the shape of a pyramid, it's wide at the bottom. So at the very bottom is like you're starting new. You're like the novice, the newbie. And so the wider part of a pyramid is where the masses are. So the wider part of your market would be the most competitive and where you'd make the least amount of money, because you're learning, you're still competing with the masses. As you move up into the pyramid level, it starts getting more narrow. So you start getting more skilled, and then you start getting narrower. You start becoming the authority. And then to the very top, you're becoming the expert, not only the expert, the highly paid expert, because you've narrowed the niche down, and you've moved away from the competition. So what happens is the competition goes away and the money increases, and you're going only after the top 20% of your market. So it makes common sense that if you can decrease the competition and become that authority in your market, that you're going to instantly make more money. So what it becomes is, when you have positioned yourself in that way, is that sales become easier, and you start getting the high valued clients. So your sales happen much easier, and all you have to do is educate people to that you're the expert in something, and when you speak to the right target market, they just come on board. I mean, the sales process is cut down to a very small process, because you're just educating, and they say, I want that. But on the bottom of the market, when you're on the bottom of the pyramid, your sales process is really hard. It's really labor intensive. You're pushing all the time. You're trying to get the next client. You're underselling. You're undervaluing yourself. It's a tougher place to be. So, but that's where you got to be as you build yourself up into the pyramid, as you start, building it. And that's where, when you see it visually, I got to get up there. And the only way to do that is just keep working on positioning, getting it better. And a good example of that is people that want to get in the speaking business. They think, I want to go out there and I want to get $5,000 for my first speech. But they have a demo video that looks like they should be worth about $500, and a website that they should be worth $500. They haven't put any money into the investment in their positioning, their marketing, but they expect to get more money. I mean, you have to look the part. You have to invest and look the part. And sometimes you might even have to fake it before you make it. You got to look better than you are sometimes at the beginning. You got to be upscale, and you got to keep upscaling.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. I mean, it's interesting when I go to our chapter meetings for the Florida Speakers Association, the newbies that I see, and they really have some really good potential. They just have to get their presentation in a shape that people will pay for. And I think it's getting tougher and tougher to keep the audience's imagination up on stage, because of the fact that many of the people in the audience today are millennials, and they don't have a lot of patience, and they could very well be texting while you're giving your program, and it's a tough thing to look out at an audience and see people glued to their phones. But let me ask you, give me an example of someone who isn't a speaker. Give us an example of somebody that you've worked with who is just, well, maybe it's that anesthesiologist who wants to be the a stand-up comic. I mean, who comes to you to position themselves as an expert who is kind of way out there?
I have a healer, and she's a third generation healer, and she's doing remote healing now. And yeah, remote healing. So, people have to believe in her because, she's not even touching you. She gets on the internet and she's speaking to somebody in another country, maybe, and doing remote healing through, Skype, and getting people rid of pain. And she is amazing. She's been a client of mine for a couple of years. I've seen her do it where she's been next to me and not even touch me or other people and get rid of pain, but now she can do it remotely. And she wanted to build her business remotely more than she has. And she said, I'm starting to get more of those remote clients and I'm doing really well for them. So, can you go in and rework my, my marketing now, and let's make it more remote than what I had it. So that's probably, somebody that's pretty out there. You're selling something you can't even see. You have to believe in, you find her online and you trust your videos and testimonials or from her book and believe in it. And if it, she has proof and case studies that works.
Wow. I mean, I think that's great. Well, tell us now a little bit about you, Debbie. I mean, how can people get in touch with you? What would you like them to know about you that we haven't spoken about? What is the best way for them to get to find out more about Debbie?
Okay, so they can go to my new website. I'm excited about my reinvention of my website. There was nothing wrong with my website, except I will tell you this too. The reason I reinvented it is because I look at what do I want next year. I really walked away from like the one market of paid speaking because I was, doing so much for my other market, teaching this highly paid expert business. But then I do miss those big franchise conventions, and I still love that. So my market went so far the other way that I revamped my new website, and I love it. So go there and look at it. It's beautiful. DebbieAllen.com, DebbieAllen.com. And not only is it beautiful, look at how I've got now. This is the kind of the new look of the brand. It's very clean. It's got a little bit of a feminine look to it because it's like a little bit of that, that mint green in there. But it's a lot of white. It's about a clean, effortless, easy to look at, easy to navigate. Look at the videos. I've invested thousands of dollars. The one video on my mentoring page, that cost me $14,000 to get 4 minutes of video. But that shows my business lifestyle, and that resonates with people that are interested in that type of thing. So it shows what you have to invest just to get that type of thing. So look at it for that reason. And then if you want to know a little bit more about the Highly Paid Expert, sign up for my free ebook. And that's a pretty extensive ebook there that'll give you a good jump start. And then if you want to know about my events, just click on the event page, and then it'll show you all the different events I do, including the Highly Paid Expert Workshop. I got one coming up in Phoenix here in a couple of weeks. And then my next one will be in Irvine, California. I always stay on the West Coast because I don't like to travel as much anymore. So you got to travel to come see me. So that's a great way to get connected to me. And Gayle, I love that we got connected, and I want to do more with you. And I admire you so much and love what you're doing.
Wow. Well, thank you so much, Debbie. I mean, Debbie is a force, as you can tell. And I want to encourage all of you to go to her website, DebbieAllen.com. I'm going to go there, see what her new look is, get her free ebook. I'm going to get that. It's just a pleasure talking with you, Debbie, and knowing everything that you're doing. And I think you're a great inspiration to women who say, wow, it's too late. It's never too late. Remember Grandma Moses. Some of you remember Grandma Moses, who didn't start painting until she was well into her 80s. So and became so famous and so well known. So it's never too late. So go to Debbie, that's DEBBIE, Allen, ALLEN.com. Take advantage of everything that she has on the website. Thank you so much for being with us today, Debbie. It has been a real pleasure having you. And I know you're going to succeed in everything that you choose from now on.
Oh, yeah. Well, thank you so much. And I'm just going to leave with this one little note. One little reminder here when you said that, Gayle. My oldest client right now is 87 years old. She is the oldest woman that hiked Mount Kilimanjaro, and she wants to do it again at 88 years old to raise awareness for her cause, which is a nonprofit to help underserved children. So yes, never give up.
Wonderful. Thank you so much.
Okay, Gayle, thanks.
You've had the opportunity to get to know me over the last few years, and I'd like to get to know you as well. One of the things I'm offering is training for the media. I have a wonderful program that will get you ready for any radio or TV interview you might be offered. Many of you are doing wonderful things, but no one knows about them. Others of you are successful and wonder what's next. Whether you're in a business or have a special cause or a specific event you're promoting, media can help, and I can help you master your message so you can master the media. If this sounds interesting to you, email me at gailcarson13@gmail.com with media training in the subject line. I promise I will be in touch.